Good morning. Today is the 14th of March, 2025, 10:14 a.m. For the record, this is Yahweh, Joshua. So, hope everyone's having a good Shabbat prep and look forward to getting in a better mood with all the classes that start firing off tonight and tomorrow. But it's still disappointing that we are the minority in all ways, because I'm stuck between concern and anger whenever I see, Jesus is coming, or even the King is coming, or all these things, because then you're giving some type of illusion that I am not already here, or you're expecting someone else. And this is also to point out that even in my own Bible, right, it speaks about like the meeting in the air. Those are things that are of a spiritual nature, right? So mankind likes to take a lot of what is only allegory in the flesh and then is reality in the spirit. They want it to happen to their flesh, and that is a faulty way of thinking, because the flesh, it would be like saying you wanted to go to a football game, but you're in a car and you don't have a door to get out of that car. So you don't have the ability to step out of that car and go through the turnstile and, get your ticket and go sit down in the bleacher because, well, you're stuck in your car. So when we're talking about meeting in the air, I'm already meeting many thousands of spirits that I've already given, and we are meeting. We're meeting upstairs in council. They are witnesses that have yet to even come forward because I haven't asked them to. Because at this point, they're already actively working and engaging in the kingdom. They already are using gifts of the Spirit. They're already working with me in certain areas around the entire world to do thy will. So people that are, again, right, you're shouting Jesus to go into the air, like, you guys are reluctant to receive a spirit. And honestly, if you don't lay down the ego and expectations of a fleshly matter, then you may never get a spirit. Because if your hand is already holding, let's just say, I'll kind of do it in a parable. So let's say that the world is a buffet. And everyone, right, they have an empty plate and their plates are full. They go and sit down. That's what their desire is. And I come along and say, you need to scrape all that in the garbage. Get hungry again. So don't go back through the buffet. Clean your plate off and start getting hungry. When you're hungry, then I want you to just raise your hand and I'm going to come bring you food. Instead of the junk food at the buffet that the world gives you, I'm going to give you something that, it's like the Red Bull commercial, right? It's going to give you wings. But understand, if the buffet attendee doesn't see value in that, right? Instead, if they see value in the unlimited ice cream bar, they're never going to clean their plate because their expectation is chocolate ice cream. Their expectation is all things other than what I'm going to give them. And so long as they are comfortable and complacent and happy, they're not eligible for a spirit, right? A part of getting a spirit is I have to break the soul first, because everyone, through generations, just through ignorance, malteaching, the world you live in, modern society, all these things have a cumulative effect on the spiritual nature of mankind. And this is the war between me and my adversary. He wants you in the world and wants you pleased with things of a fleshly, material nature. That's fine when the world is not condemned. That's fine when the world is not inhabited by demonic beings. That's fine when the buffet isn't all junk food. But right now, in a spiritual way, you have to look at the world as a toxin, big or small. And a lot of things that I teach on, it's important to know how to think and how to learn. So sometimes I'm teaching you and we're going up a gradual staircase, and then only to midway I'm going to flip it on you upside down. And this is a part of, if you will, a spiritual rigor. Now, you might say, well, this is a lot of work. I thought Messiah is supposed to just wave his magic wand, I float in the air, and then I'm in nirvana, and that's another thing, right? So has anyone even thought through what you actually pray for? Done on earth as done in heaven. Well, I'm a ruler in heaven. So if I'm going to be on earth, that's going to apply as well. Now, people have already expressed disdain with my style, with things that I rule on. And that's another thing you have to understand, right? That's why you have Democrats and Republicans, because the ideals are different. Well, my ideals are very different than man as well. Now, I don't expect everyone to just automatically get behind me and everything at first, but if you continue on learning, if you continue on expanding your being, you will eventually come to the same conclusion of understanding that I have already obtained, and then you will be in actually agreement because you'll be able to see the full picture. So you need to clean your plate to inherit the Spirit. When you inherit the Spirit, you'll be able to join me and the others, right, in council. You'll be able to join us in the realms, and then I'll be able to show you things through dreams. So a lot of things that I do that prove who I am are also through dreams, visions, and things like that. Now, depending on the person's progress, and a lot of newcomers or new people into the actual faith, these things look foreign to them. This is where I need my boots on the ground, right? Instead of even in a physical, carnal way, right? I'm not getting anybody drinking from my fountains. And so if my pastors, my teachers, and my preachers want to be the barrier between me and the people, then start giving me a reason why you're the barrier between me and my people, right? Where's the outreach on the Jesus, Jesus, Jesus people? I don't see any, right? Where is the correction when people are talking about when Messiah comes? Like, all these things are your job. If you're going to be a buffer, and I'm speaking right to you, Parable of the Vineyard, I'm speaking right to you, Remnant House, I'm speaking right to you, Jacob's Tent, I'm speaking to all of you who watch my videos in private and from a hidden sense, which is also not developing a relationship with me. Because it goes one of two ways. One, if you think of me so sacred and so holy that you shouldn't interact with me whatsoever, then that's a problem. Because how are you going to minister to my people if all you're doing is picking up wind down, if you're picking things up downwind and then having, your regular services on it? Right? We're not having any type of outreach. Like, this is what gets me wrathful, is that, I try to play the game how people want to play the game, right? If you want to be the barrier between me and the people, fine, then do a better job at getting the word out. If that's not what you desire, right, then don't be a barrier. Then if you want to be mute and mum, then at a minimum, share one of my videos, maybe not like a harsh one, but you should have watched enough to know what could be a good message for this type of person. These are all tools in your toolbox. Every one of these videos, and now there's 83, these are all silver bullets in your spiritual, gun here that you get to use to help a certain person see the truth. But if no one's doing that, then I don't have a church. I don't have a congregation, and therefore I lose a purpose of saving even a remnant. I'd be damned if I'm going to go through all this stress and aggravation for a people that can't even give a like, give a share, give a crap, frankly. Like, and that's what I mean, is you guys are looking for just like before. And that's what I mean, right? So if you want to talk about proof, and you guys are always in love with the figure that's oldest in the past, you love Jesus or the idea of Jesus because in those minds, he's a character in a fairy tale, right? Everyone loves Cinderella and the glass slipper and the castle and the prince. Well, guess what? That's not real. That's a movie. The ideals of Rome and the Christian church today are all false ideas. And if humanity rejects me because they want their buffet plate more than what I will give them, then there is no place on earth or in my kingdom for you. So this is a very hard pill to swallow. I have decisions to make, and I'm at a crossroad. Either I move forward with an army of my true congregation to get the word out, to have a plan, to whatever you guys want to do. If you refuse to work for me and on the kingdom and whatever, and you were like, no, I'm going to sit on my hands, wait for, that's what I mean. Like, wait for what? Wait for the king to come down in the clouds? Like, that's when if you're having these feelings, if you're having these issues, then you're spiritually unclean. You are knowledgeably unlearned. You are emotionally unconnected with me. Thus, you are probably in a position that you don't have a spirit. Because if you cleansed yourself, followed me, and did what I said, I will be coming to give you a spirit. When you get a spirit, you will have these experiences that are written about, but it's not in a carnal way. You understand these things, and the carnal body is not the permanent body. They're like vehicles, and right now the world are all locked in their vehicles, which is why everything of the flesh matters so much to mankind. When I liberate the human race, those that are wanting to be liberated, given a spirit, so you have a body to transcend into other realms, and then you are a physical being in a completely different dimension, and thus you have freedom. That's the only way out of this thing. There is no way that 180-pound me is gonna fly up in the air, hold my arms out, and then what? I'll go to Orlando. I'll float over there. Then maybe I'll go to Atlanta, because just like the flat Earth people, right? How would I even, if I could fly in the flesh, and I can if I wanted to, I have no doubt. But let's just make sense out of that. If I did it right now, I wouldn't even have one eyeball to look up. Most people don't even look up because they're so stuck in what their message is going to be. They're stuck in their own dogma. They're stuck on Jesus. They're stuck on everything else other than what is real and what is applicable. Like, I'm not here to play church. I'm here to either get people on board or get you off board. But right now, I am getting quite concerned that everything I say falls on deaf ears. No one gives a crap. And I really, I don't know what to do with you at this point. Like, I don't. Because, like I said, I have so many people that even if they're in, they're not really in. They're not in with their heart. They're in with an expectation of saying, okay, I'll kind of give this tree a sniff, but until it comes down and picks me up and does something crazy, like I'm not gonna do anything, right? And this is literally the adversary and how he works. He's gonna build up all types of things and expectations that are impossible to fulfill, and thus keep you waiting. And guess what? If you don't have a spirit when you die, you're inconsequential. You get a 30-second clip, and then your soul is going to be reborn and shat right back out of a female, male and female. We're not going to go with a third gender. Somebody should remind the Democrats, because you guys are still having... The earth is a nightmare. Let's just wrap that up. It's an absolute cesspool of ridiculousness. And this is an And this is a legitimate spiritual war that manifests in all types of ways. And I try to send my warnings to all the idiots. They don't get it, right? Half of them think it's climate change. The other half think it's just happen chance. Then the ones waiting on Jesus, right? They're flesh driven. They're superficial. They're unlearned. They don't know how to read the Bible because they don't have a spirit. It'd be like me handing someone a handbook in Japanese, but they only speak English. You're not going to be able to make sense out of it, right? So then they go to their ignorant pastor who knows a little bit of Cantonese, and then from there, right, bought, sold, and out the door. So, again, I just really question, like, a lot of people's motives. And if anybody thinks that they're going to squeak through the door, right, like you're going to stay in some kind of reserved spot until you have this mind-blowing revelation, which I do give mind-blowing revelations, but guess what? That takes discipline. That takes watching these videos and then watching, studying, meditating, lamenting on my word. I'm physically speaking to you. Your Elohim is physically speaking to you. But yet, there are more views for how to program a remote control, right? Or even how to do virtually anything. There is something wrong with this picture. Because what I'm trying to conclude here is I'm not seeing the value of anyone. I'm not seeing the value of even churches at this point. I'm not seeing the value in people, places, or things. There's no nouns other than my personal ones, meaning myself, my children, and my wife. Other than that, I don't really see anybody out there that's trying to support the true church, that gives a rat's ass about the true Messiah, the living God, the Elohim of old, like all these things, because you guys are too busy sucking on your thumbs and you believe the devil. Well, if you want to believe the devil, then I am going to put you on my adversary list. And if that's the entire world, then so be it. If the remnant is going to be literally myself, God himself, with my own family, like in the days of Noah, and I'm the only one who boards my own ark, then I will. And guess what? Everybody will be gone by the time I raise islands and I raise continents and I break other continents. Like, you guys, I'm trying to roll out the church congregations so you're friends of friends and family of family and sisters, brothers and kinsmen and kids and all these places and nouns that you all love so much. But yet, the only engagement I hear anybody talk about are all woulda, shoulda, woulda, couldas, right? Or even now, so many of you so-called watchmen, you guys aren't watching shit because I'm already here. If you knew who I was and you knew my truth, then you wouldn't be getting my name wrong, one. Two, you'd be telling others like you're supposed to be doing, not talking shit about the other. But you would be so glued to these videos because not only is there prophecy in every single one, but it tells you the purpose, the pattern, the plan. It gets you used to who I am, and yet we're at an impasse. So, I mean, time is running out, and like I said, I'm getting to a point where I'm getting fatigued. I'm starting to lose my sense of purpose of trying to constantly go give out spirits when I've got people who are confused about my name. Most of you don't even believe I'm what I say I am. And the fact of the matter is, I use elements, I use prophecy because that's one of my defining characteristics. I rule with authority and a heavy rod right now because the world is out of order. When the world becomes back in order, and if I have a people to actually move forward with, then we'll be able to preserve a remnant and rebuild and have all these wonderful things on earth as they are, but in a much better state. Now, if that doesn't float your canoe, then just stop. Like, I'm about to be doing very big things, and I'm about to take a lot of people. But I'm honestly, like, I don't even call anybody my church anymore. I call myself my church because you're all that disappointing. Frankly, you're all that disappointing. You know, if I took a stranger from the realms who know me, and I brought them down and I said, you know what? Listen to all these churches and I want you to come back and tell me one of them that's actually mine, when in reality they're all for me. But none of them know me, none of them care about the real me, none of them speak about the real me. Everybody wants to play pretend. Everybody wants to play Barbie and Ken. Well, I'm not Barbie, nor am I Ken. I'm God Almighty Yahweh. And I'm getting pretty pissed. So, I'm taking 5. Alright, I'm back. I'm going to try to keep it short because I'm just not really in a very good mood, especially with you churches. Like, you guys are honestly a disappointment. And I'm hoping that'll change for your benefit because, like, you know, I'm starting to have this thought, this feeling, you know, that my coming maybe wasn't even for the human race. Maybe it was for simply those spirits that fell, that I redeemed and have now walked the straight and narrow. They visit me in council. They found their place in the larger scale of things. They're actively in the realms. They're happy as a clam. You know, and that's the thing. 90% of all those that I've already redeemed, given a spirit, and they've ascended up, now they have bilateral bodies. They're as happy as a clam. Maybe that was the job. So maybe now the rest of my job is just entire annihilation of all things, because I don't see the motivation within humanity. I don't see any changes really happening at a reasonable pace within government. I'm tired of talking to myself, and I'm about to delete the YouTube channel, sayonara, and then I'm going to blow the earth. Because frankly, it's beyond acceptable that I say this and then somebody wants to quote something that Paul said. You care less about what God says than you do an apostle. You will take the words of an apostle, of a prophet, of you would rather take the counsel from a fucking brick before you do the true and living God. And I'm over it. I'm frankly over it. And I'm about to display my displeasement with everybody through fire, lots of it. Wind, you haven't even seen how windy I can really be. Like, I'm very frustrated. I'm feeling very wrathful, and I'm about to take it out on every single thing upon the earth. I am that mad. It's unacceptable that the amount of time I've been here and the lack of participation, the lack of mobility within my churches, I disown you. I will completely push you away from me, because you know what? The churches are the last stop here. And it's now the hardest. That's what I mean. I'm coming to a conclusion that maybe saving humanity is not my job. Maybe my purpose was to save those with a spirit, ascend them. I've checked the box. And then to just destroy the rest of the planet. I don't really give a crap. I try to please one group, say then build me the stupid temple. Now we don't want to. Then don't. Like, I'm literally over it. I'm over it. And I'm frankly at the end of my patience, at the end of my rope, whatever allegory you want to say, but I am at the end of my patience because I am sick and tired of trying to struggle for a human populace, the earth, that could give one shit less about me. And I am the progenitor of the at least the pious ones. So I'm about to literally just step off that platform and I'm gone. Like, I am so done. You guys can go and wait for Jesus. You guys can go and sing to the freaking wall for all I care. I am so pissed. It should not have taken this long and still this level of results. Like, you're telling me you treat me worse than you would even treat an estranged friend. That's how this feels. Literally how this feels. So it makes me believe that It's a one-sided relationship, in which case I divorce you now. So saith I, Yahweh, Yahuwah. You don't want to acknowledge me, you don't want to acknowledge the spirit and the flesh, then I divorce you, I turn my ears off to you, and I reverse all of my blessings into a curse on you. I'm done. Like, there's no excuse. Rihanna could fart on an airplane, and 2 hours later the entire world would know it. Because humanity are infantile, degenerate species that are not going to survive. Let's go back time. Let's go back to the dinosaur era. Now imagine if dinosaurs were sentient. And dinosaurs were given opportunity after opportunity to get out of their little reptile skins, go up in the air, right? Not their big 4-ton bodies, that ain't happening. But, you know, give them that opportunity to ascend up, and then I'll put them back into creation at a future time. But in the meantime, they get to have their spiritual body, they get to essentially, you know, learn and adapt to all these things of the realms, and then when they come back down into earth, they're actually, their memories are intact, their beings are intact, and now they're under the operation of a different vessel, right? A different bat. Now, what would happen if my warnings kept falling on deaf dino ears? My warning was kept being met with, nope, we're still going to gorge each other. We're still going to destroy creation. We're still going to just do all these things outside of the Creator's wishes and word. Well, guess what happens? An asteroid the size of the Gulf of Mexico will take care of that dinosaur problem once and for all. Humanity will face a worse fate than that. So, I am again beside myself. I have been yelling, fire, let's get the wheels under this. Let's have some type of outreach. Let's do something. But you guys teach about me without me in the equation. You teach about my name without the real me in the equation. When I drop onto any number of classes, if I had that person from the realms come down and say, I want you to find one church that knows me, the real God, that can literally do anything for me, that person would come back and report, Majesty, I don't actually know, because I hear Jesus over here. Well, that's not you, right? That's Rome stole a story, made it their own, and turned it into the biggest idolatry abomination upon the earth that I've ever seen. Then you have the Hebrew Torah movement. You guys give a shit more about calendars, feasts, and like bacon than anything else. Like, and I've done so much for you guys. I'm God Almighty. If I want to go get a bacon cheeseburger today, I will. Why? Because the flesh to me is just the flesh. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Like, everyone is literally in this daycare mindset. And it's really upsetting me. But through your inaction, through your interaction with me, through all these things, I'm getting the picture quite clear. If you do know about me, I'm not the one you want. You expect someone else to come and save your asses? Well, guess what? I don't know. Maybe when you get shat back out in a new era and I put you in the places you will belong. God, imagine that. Imagine how many people that purposely keep lowering themselves on the platform, and what are things going to look like for you in the future? Not very good. And a lot of you, I'm not saving anything. Like, there's nothing about some of you that I even care about, because you're so estranged to me. Like, it's y'all's problem, not mine. But I'm telling you, time is ticking, and I'll be damned if I'm going to continue stretching my arm out for no reason. It's the same song and dance, and the needle's not moving. It's not moving. If I went completely and erased my memory today, and I was just me, and I was dropped into the world, and I'm trying to find my church, and I knock on the door. Hi, welcome to church. Here's a Jesus lapel pin. Come on in. Have you been saved today? That's what I would get. They don't know the true and living God, and whose fault is that? I'll wait. The world. The world. So you're all guilty. So this is your problem. I'm going to revisit this on either Sunday or Monday. And so help me on my word. Yahweh, Yahuwah. I will be administering very steep and very severe penalties and punishments for all those that are claiming they're a part of my church but are doing nothing. You're claiming my name but have done nothing for the kingdom, done nothing for me. I could not tell you from a carnal perspective that I have made 0.5% of progress in the upward way. If anything, I have had declining progress in all ways. So I want you to remember that when you have no house. Remember that when you're starving to death. Remember that when the sky is black and there's no sunshine. Remember that when there's no food in the grocery stores. Remember that when the church you're standing in completely goes up in flames or is toppled and burnt down with you in it. Remember that. Remember that when planes collide in the air again. Remember that when the seas turn red. Remember all these things. And every time you think of God, every time you think of me, you better bow your head in shame and say, I forsook my God. I dishonored my God. So many people have written checks with their mouths that their asses can't cash, and now I'm cashing. And I'm crashing. And I'm burning and twirling and everything else because I'm over it. So we'll revisit this, like I said, Sunday, maybe Monday. But I'm not going to spoil my entire Friday because my true churches can't get it together. Because you know what? If anyone had a half a brain and if anybody had any kind of real true faith, then we would be seeing something. You're telling me I'm making videos and I get 0 views? The true and living God talking to the world gets 0 views, but somebody that needs an instruction manual on how to wipe their own ass could have 1,000? Whose fault is that? That's all of your faults. So now I will be casting my black stone, and if I cast my black stone, you're never going to see this face again. You're never going to see this again. Because you and your entire world will be thrown into a great tribulation. And I'm not redeeming you then. Then you'll be in the running for that 30-second pleasure clip. That'll be what you're vying for.